All right, good morning, and we are right back into things here at Corsace Closed 2024. After that incredible match between Malashevsky and Henry, it is instantly time for the back-to-back second semifinal of the weekend in the winner's bracket. We have worst HR player versus mcy4, number 2 seed versus number 3 seed. And man, this match has quite a bit to live up to after how Henry versus Malashevsky went, but I think it's more than capable of doing the job. I'm 2NG. Joining me for this one is Sad Shiba. Good morning, Shiba, and welcome to Worst HR Player versus mcy4.
Hello?
And
Hello. Can you hear me
there we are.
okay?
Now we can. Yes, welcome.
I'm so sorry. My bad. My microphone was broken. Anyway, hello. Yeah, no, dude. Yeah, last match was just insane. I was on the edge of my seat, so I'm like on like a whiplash right now. You know, going from literally like screaming on the other side of my screen watching how it goes down, now having to cast this match, which equally has potential to be an absolute banger. I can't wait for it, dude. mcy4, West HR player. Both these guys, crazy good form. Crazy good in the winner's bracket. Shot at securing themselves top 4 and a chance to go in the winner's finals against Henry next weekend. These picks and bans seem to be pretty understandable so far. It's up to those picks now. I think DT2 being an understandable ban here for him. Way too stamina intensive for control intense, and mcy4, despite knowing to be struggling a bit, tapping generally has made a decent improvement and shown that quite well against Decadence. So not surprised to see that banned. And hidden 2 for mcy4. This is fine. Makes sense. Reading is one of those super strengths. So yeah, Nomod 6 coming up first ever for him, and probably the most predictable entry pick into this matchup.
Yeah, this was, I think this is a matchup where you're just expecting some standard picks for these two, where worst HR player is going to go into the gimmicky stuff, going to go into the control type of skill set, and mcy4 going to go probably into what tapping mechanics he has available to him, despite not being a speed player, the superior speed player between these two, generally speaking. Also would like to see mcy4 probably pick into maybe some alt and such. I think there's some good options for him in that skill set as well. And starting off, perhaps not with a bang, but a little bit of a whimper, as multiple breaks for both players in the intro patterning of this very difficult Nomod 6. A lot of reading, a lot of control into it. And the worst HR player stabilizing can take the early lead by a pretty sizable 6K or 6% AC, as well as about 30K score.
Yeah, this map was really made to trip you up. I think one thing to know about this map is that if you have not practiced this and you're not aware of the trippy patterns that appear, the perfect stacks, those crazy triples, those back and forth bursts into single patterns are really required to know and acknowledge before playing into the tournament. And for mcy4, those perfect stacks were sort of tipped him up earlier, but seems to have recovered decently well, building up to a good amount of combo that can contest Forum's lead if he is to break very soon. We're only about third of the way through here so far, and both of them looking solid. Accuracy, though, really not in mcy4's favor here, and with that drop coming up as well, following through, it seems like Forum's going to be able to extend this lead further and further as we get into those really trippy triple sections here. Really dangerous levels of aim control. You need that perfect agility lining up into those bursts to really hit them properly, and Forum seems to be passing that test with flying colors so far, still hitting the entirety of it. As we get past that halfway mark, the break's coming up very soon, and this giant combo is going to start building up into something really spectacular if he hits the rest of this map, and it seems to be the case. Nailed by Forum.
You just expect it out of him at this point, right? He's established himself as possibly the best aim control player in the world. And the break, of course, immediately coming after the break in the map. But nonetheless, the combo to that point did the job, up by 260,000 points. So not going to be too, or 160,000 points, excuse me. So you're not going to be too concerned if you're worst HR player. And going to see what he can establish in the back quarter of the pick. mcy4 continuing to find breaks. This one well in hand for worst HR player, so we're kind of just looking to see what he's capable of, because winning the point is already, checked off the list.
Yeah, definitely. That issue is not really there anymore. It's more about the style points of Forum, and unfortunately towards the very ending, he's not been able to maintain that spectacular form in the first half, but that doesn't really matter, because mcy4 isn't able to build anything of that magnitude, especially towards the later half, which just gets a bit more ridiculous afterwards. So thankfully for Forum, that issue is not going to be present for him, and this map surely will be his. Still landing section looking pretty nice. mcy4 is going to drop before him, building up a nice 270, 200, 300 combo now. But it doesn't matter. Forum looking great. Dominating in the act department, might I add. This map is really tricky and really difficult to maintain a good act on. And you can tell with a player like mcy4, who is known for being pretty good on these kind of controlling maps, to still perform at that level is just really impressive. 96 act for Forum is just beautiful. Great start for him. 400k is no slouch.
Yeah, 451, solid score. As you said, the very expected first pick for worst HR player here. No surprise, to see him go into this skill set in this matchup. For mcy4, you got to figure that this is probably a Nomod 2 angle. He is historically a very strong Nomod 2 player. This is not quite a traditional standard, it's not your Knowledge King basic stamina flow Nomod 2. It does have a little more aimy stream patterning to it, but still think superior of the two players in this particular matchup. DT2 gone means that, he will have like the Nomod 5 and the DT1 as well, but there you go, Nomod 2. No surprise there. I think these are about the most obvious first two picks for these players that we could have possibly imagined.
Yeah, Nomad 2 being picked. Although I completely understand mcy4 for taking this, I definitely would not fully count Forum out on this. I think the BPM of this, despite being decently fast, Forum has shown proficiency in a bit of a high BPM, especially recently, where he's been showing off his improvements in his tapping stamina and tapping mechanics generally. It is still safe to call mcy4 to be the favorite of this, but I'm definitely cautious of calling this one-sided for sure. But it's a safe pick for MCY and definitely something that's up his alley. This flying style as well, pretty solid for him. So I'm expecting stuff like AK generally to be good, but combo game we might see Forum be able to eke something out if mcy4 trips up. Last time we played between Malashevsky and Enry, it was very, very close. Nearly an AK battle for the majority of the map until near the ending quarter, where we finally ended up seeing a break from the just general stamina and general wear. So far in this intro section, looking pretty good. Discord slider, dropped act there from Forum, but still leading in the act department so far. So pretty solid.
Yeah, I think the concern for me where Forum is concerned on this map is going to come down a little bit more to the stamina. He's capable of playing this through the early goings, first third, first half, but we'll have to see what happens once we get on with it into the later portions of the pick. Because this isn't the shortest map, and there's a misaim for both players. It's a combo break for both, so nothing ventured, nothing gained there. Still dead even, as the accuracy as well staying very close. So this one's still completely a toss-up.
Yeah, absolutely. They both dropped that exact same stream section there, just slightly over-aiming it there for Forum, and I believe an under-aim for MCY. So exactly the same sections, practically very minuscule combo difference here. So it's still anybody's map. Accuracy leaning just slightly in favor of mcy4, which is why he has that small 10k lead. Don't let that count it out. Forum still very much continuing to take this, and both players still holding on to great combo as it starts to continue. mcy4 drops, but not long after that trade from Forum. The score lead still remains in mcy4's favor, but even now, a chain miss or a big act drop could lead to the flip. It's shrinking and gaining up and down here for both of these guys. And with that second break there from Forum, mcy4 might be able to start building something far enough so that Forum can't contest. We're getting into the final quarter of the map, and this might start to get a bit more one-sided now. Small lag drop for MCY, but he's still hitting these space sections. Beautiful stuff there from MCY. And this might start to be a comfortable lead here for him as long as he maintains this as the form starts to expand in these difficult streams. He drops, but Forum might be able to pounce back. He's missed.
Forum has the combo. He's got the combo. He can bring it back in the last seconds, but he drops as well. This could just come down to the last 100 combo. The spin to win, perhaps even 7k, all that's separating them. And that came back to 5,000 points. Worst HR player made up about 3k on the spinner alone, but it just wasn't quite enough. mcy4 holding on for dear life, man.
Aaron, that went from like nearly 30k to 5k in like a flip of a switch. That was instant.
That is what happens on a just very combo dense map like that, right at the very end. mcy4 just barely managed to hang on, and that was, I mean, you kind of called that, like, don't count worst HR player out on this map. He's gotten a lot better at these types of things over the course of the last few months. I think definitely recognized what his weakness was and has been working on it a lot. Unfortunately, not quite enough there, but it's enough to put the fear of God into mcy4 that he could maybe not be as favored on tapping stuff as he expected. Worst HR player immediately into the next pick, though. He's going to go Hidden 3, which, again, just a very unsurprising sort of pick, I think, in this matchup.
Yeah, this Hidden 3 is just straight up full-on control-heavy ult. It's kind of everywhere in terms of its difficulty. It's a really cool-looking map from what I remember. But it's got a bit of slider aim in there too. It's kind of a hybrid of that rhythmic ult with a little bit of sliders hit there as well. It's an awesome map as well. I really love watching this and showcase and getting to know a little bit more about it as I heard the song play. This is an absolute banger, and I'm glad this was finally picked. I don't remember seeing this previously, so good to see it now.
I believe we have seen this at least once or twice, but not necessarily the most common of picks. This one throws a lot of very challenging skill sets at you. You know, kind of the hidden control linear aim patterns like we just saw Forum break on, intermingled with these very difficult slider aim patterns that, you know, it's more difficult on hidden, right, to play those sorts of patterning, and you can see a little bit of uncertainty here and there from the players, but it is a break back from mcy4, so no big lead to be gained, and should go back over to worst HR player here on his pick in just a moment.
Yeah, just a small little miss there earlier on from mcy4, lose that combo advantage. But that little miss aim from both those players, misreading the section at the same time, leading to a double miss from both. And because Forum not being able to gauge too much of a lead, along with being very, very just slightly ahead of that Ack, is not going to give him too deep of an advantage from that combo earlier on. Still anyone's game. There's also quite a few rhythmic changes in this map as well. It's quite sporadic in some of its sections and its tapping here. So you got to be sharp for a very long time. And so far, it's looking solid. mcy4 only holding on to a mere, like, 10 combo lead. Still anyone's map at the moment. As we approach that final quarter here, this could get anywhere. And as that difficulty will start to wrap up, the slider aim is going to start to increase a little bit as well. And these are the slider jumps there, hit from both players. Look at how sporadic this aim is. And finally, mcy4 goes down. And as long as Forum doesn't fall apart here, this lead is going to belong to him. It's gone from 5k to 45,000. And with that trade from MCY, no leaning threat imminent, and Forum will be able to establish his own pick. No breakpoint secured here for MCY.
That was another just close until the last second, though, right? mcy4 was holding on right there with worst HR player, but that last little bit of the map, the last quarter, worst HR player just picked it up, kept the accuracy up, kept the combo up. mcy4 with a couple extra misses and the lower accuracy. And like you said, I mean, it went from a 10, 20k lead to a 70k lead in the blink of an eye. But these two kind of showing off so far through the first two picks, just how evenly matched they are. You know, the Nomod 6 may have been heavily in worst HR players' favor, but the other couple of picks have been balanced on a knife's edge all the way through. And neither player having difficulty making the picks. It's going to be Hard Rock 1 as the selection here for mcy4. So we go into some more kind of control aim, a little bit of slider aim thrown in as well. This time, though, with the HR, and, you know, obviously the worst HR player name definitely doesn't live down to that. He is more competent on the skill set than his name might have you believe. So this is another one that I feel should be very contested.
Yeah, this Hard Rock 1 is nothing like your traditional one. Your usual Hard Rock 1s, you expect this to be quite a raw aim test. You'd see quite a regular normal one put in with Hard Rock slapped on top, depending on which tournament, but most of the time that is the case. This one is very different. Much more on the control heavy side, but still very required to aim well. You see those triples and you see those big sporadic sliders with Hard Rock slapped on top. It makes them very dangerous. You have to keep holding on and keep tracking on them for a good while. You cannot rest easy no matter what. This map is really fast paced as well. Just constantly hits you with a bunch of different patterns, be it bursts, be it sliders, be it doubles, be it reverse sliders. It can be all over the place. But thankfully, so far, so good for both of these players. Great accuracy displayed here as well, both at 99.
Yeah, this is a skill set that another skill set, I suppose I should say, that is very, very contested between these two. You know, the jokes in chat you can see about them being the same player do not seem to be far off. The combo is identical, the accuracy not too far apart, especially with that big combo or accuracy drop from Forum. But there's a big chain miss from mcy4. And that is instantly a 40k score lead to worst HR player. But he does follow with a break as another chain miss comes through from mcy4. And we're back even on combo. But Forum with that decent score lead now, 60,000 points already.
Yeah, that singular combo advantage that he had for a little while after that Chambers from MCY, not only deducted from MCY's score, but gave for him loads of breather room to just skyrocket with that act decrease as well. And as we start to go up into the final quarter, you see these ult patterns and a few of those up and down sections with the kind of doubles for him, shaking, almost missing out. He still knows that he's got a chance to lose this. He still has to hover a little bit. mcy4 is watching and trailing him, still managing to hold on pop up from the sections. But as the cuts start to slow down, it doesn't seem like there's going to be any major ramp up where what Forum has to really worry about. That 70k seems to be safe in his hands, and that is a break point into this match. The first break point of the match. 3-1 to Forum.
And another close one, too. I mean, only separated by 52,000 points. But you get that S rank to come through from worst HR player. You get the higher accuracy by a full percent, and the combo, just that small 70 combo advantage. That's all it takes to get the break point early on as we head into the second ban phase. And now mcy4 going to be on the back foot. I don't know what his entry point into a worst HR player sort of pool is going to be. So curious what the second ban will be here, and curious what mcy4 might have some sort of chance at a break point on in the back half of the match. This may be maybe a hidden one or a Nomod 3. Nomod 3. Yeah, it's a lower AR reading-y Nomod 3, so it makes sense. That's a worst HR player control aim type of pick. Would like to see him play that, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of wanted to see this played, but it makes sense for mcy4 to ban it. It's AR 9.3, but the way it's mapped, it's really dense. So regardless, it is still a reading test, and I think mcy4 doesn't want to deal with that, especially with how prominent Forum is on that kind of style. And being the Nomod 1 ban here from Forum Sky of Twilight, I think he wants to remove that coin flippy option here for MCY. That Nomod 1 is definitely one of those maps where if you are a good aim player, for the most part, you'll be able to hold on for a good majority of the map. It's that ending section that really matters. And Forum doesn't want to deal with that. He's just going to let that slide. He's going to make sure that the next picks he can lean into are ones that he's more confident in. And with the 3-1 lead he has, any risk that he's going to take is not really something that he wants to lean into. He's not going to do that. He just wants to be safe and just wants to go with what he's comfortable on. With that next pick, he's still got a lot of choice here. This pool has quite a bit of control and ult in it, wouldn't you say? Quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of worst HR player picks in this pool. He's going to go into the Hard Rock 3, so speaking of that ult, that's going to be within that skill set. We're going to go the Hard Rock ult. He's got, still Nomod 4, Hidden 1, both remaining Hard Rock, so plenty of options here, but I do like, going into the Hard Rock alt pick. Very tricky control aim in this one, and I almost want to say reading, which is weird to say about a Hard Rock pick, but some of these perfect stacks and overlaps actually do have a little bit of a reading component to them that you don't normally see in HR pools. But again, this sort of skill set, I think, works out really well for Forum.
Yeah, I do agree. We also love Gazimel mapping. Gazimel just makes some really fun ult maps, and this is one of those maps I think was reflected by some of the map holders to be one of the more fun maps that people enjoy playing, and you can kind of see it here. It's really difficult, but still decently comfortable for both of these players. You've got a few of those really tricky perfect stacks, which is why we mentioned that kind of reading test. But so far, both of these players looking good. mcy4 is known for being quite powerful on this Hard Rock ult, so Forum definitely making itself clear that he wants to lean into this and is more the confident player. But so far, with these snaps coming through, a lot of act drops here from mcy4. But combo still remains intact. Only that super early miss being what's giving Forum that small advantage. And as we get into this Ki here, anything could happen, and we might end up seeing a flip if Forum is to slip up just a tiny bit.
He looks pretty comfortable so far, though, keeping the accuracy up by a almost 3% advantage. mcy4 gonna have to do whatever he can to try and stay in touch in this pick. He's gonna have to keep that act up, keep the combo alive. Obviously, into this little control section. This patterning is so fun to watch. He's spaced into the burst, and there is going to be the break coming out from worst HR player. Those bursting catch you, man. He had the opportunity available to him, just couldn't hold on.
The single hardest part of the map here. Yeah. That was the single hardest part of the map here, and Forum with that drop opened up a great window there for mcy to take it, but unfortunately it won't be the case. And with that break being traded here, once again, worst HR player remains and keeps his advantage alive. Only by 20,000 though. If another break is to come through soon by this next third of the map, we could still see something. But considering both of these players were doing very, very well during that KI section, it's going to have to be a slip-up. It's not going to be a matter of difficulty hitting a peak. Both these guys still looking really solid. Accuracy decently close. Only about 1% difference. Repeating stream here. We could see a small mess up in Flame here, but it won't be the case. Both players still looking good. These cuts might do something. They're really quick cut doubles. No one's missing until MCY falls. And that has sealed the deal surely now.
That star jump pattern has caught out so many players. You get through all the cuts, you get through all the control, and then the map just says, here's another little jump pattern for you at the very end of this. And we've seen it be the death of many a combo, and mcy4, unfortunately, is going to be the latest victim. And meanwhile, Worst HR player does break here nearer the ending. Technically speaking, that's door open. There is a decent amount of combo remaining, despite there not being a lot of time left in the map. It is only a 50,000 score lead, but I think mcy4 is going to run out of time regardless, unfortunately, trying to make this comeback happen.
Yeah, Foreign would have to break really soon and multiple times if that was to be the flip. You see it starting to close in now, 30k in closing, but I don't think Foreign's going to give this any room to go. And as the more it closes up to the ending, there's just not enough time. And mcy4 had a good chance, but what's the child player? Unless it's one of those peak sections, it's not really going to be somewhere where he's going to want to drop. And that's another win there for Worst child player. 4-1 now. mcy4 needs to get a point coming up to get the momentum back. He had a great trade, and we've seen consistent close maps. It's just Worst child player just slowly just edging ahead just a tiny bit.
Yeah, he is so good at grabbing at any little advantage he can find. He just has that combo alive when his opponent falls. It feels like it got him the break point. It gets him his own point to consolidate it. 4-1 looks bad, but that is, of course, only the one break point. So it is not quite the end of the world yet. Worst HR player still has to win 2 more picks of his own, barring another break. It's one of those very misleading scorelines, I feel, 4-1. But mcy4, though, definitely on the back foot, will go into the DT3. So saying I am going to pick the ult that's available to me in maybe a mod pool that feels a little bit better. He kept the Hard Rock 3 very close. It was unfortunate that he had to ban out the Nomod 3 because it's such a non-standard kind of alt map. I think in a normal setting, you never see him ban a Nomod 3. But DT3, kind of that remaining alt option in the pool for 44 BPM DT alt. Not something you see every day, but I think this is a combination of skills that may work out in mcy4's favor in this particular matchup here when you add in the DT and everything, being a little more speedy than your traditional alt map might be.
Yeah, this is AR 10.3, so that high AR reading test is clearly something that mcy4 feels like it's worth picking into. And this map is messed up, might I add. Like, these KI sections and the difficulty peaks are just ridiculous. This is 444 BPM ult. It's quite similar to Valve 108 mapping style, if you are familiar with that. Stuff like Scarlet Rose was something that was mapped by him, and despite this not being mapped by him, it's still decently similar in its difficulty and its speed. It's just consistently difficult for a good while, especially during the higher peaks of the map where it just feels like it's non-stop difficulty just thrown at your face.
Yeah, nearly 4 minutes long would be already a lengthy normal alt pick, in the Nomad pool or something, but this is 3 minutes 40 seconds in the DT pool, which just feels ever the more intense. But you can see the players having a good time of it so far, getting through these early sections, but like you said, it's really going to come down to the guys. There is the first break from Worst HR player, really a slider break possibly. So mcy4 will take the advantage over here as we hit the 1/4 mark. See how long he can hold that, see what kind of advantage he can build up. This is the first time that in a while that it's really felt advantage to mcy4. So see if he can make the most of it. That's going to be key.
Getting into this KI now. It's up to mcy4 to try and hold on for as long as he can. It's starting to climb up to 56k, but Worst HR player's not fallen back. He's still holding on to a good 300 combo recovery, but he drops once again, and that's a big miss now. mcy4 has room to drop if he needs to and still carry on a solid degree here. The break is shown, and he's been made aware of his advantage now. 97.76, 33%, 0.33% act in his favor. Math is hard, TNG. But yeah, now he knows where he's at, and he's got 1,000 combo as well. This lead is going to start skyrocketing in his favor. So why is the Traveler just can't get enough score? He's not even past the halfway mark, and he's missed twice in 2 separate occasions. And mcy4 still holds, even if he misses at the halfway mark. There isn't a lot of room that's going to lead to a big issue here. He finally drops here, and Wednesday Childplay does trade it, so this is just really comfortable for MCY. As long as he can keep up, there won't be any issues for him.
Yeah, 100k lead in mcy4's favor. Does find a couple more breaks, though. Worst HR player starting to build back up a little bit, so, you know, you can see kind of the way that Forum can get back into this map. Another miss from mcy4. He's kind of coming apart a little bit at the seams here in a way that you really need him not to do if he wants to maintain this advantage, because that is now a 300 combo lead for worst HR player, and he is looking much more comfortable with this pick at this point, but that lead is still 80,000 points, so he still has to work to as there's the break.
Finally, yeah. Was a shot player looked like he was misreading a few of the patterns there and really panicking to try and save himself. And unfortunately for him, he ends up catching up to him a bit too far and finally leads to that break that I think mcy4 desperately needed. Now it's even grounds. Both players holding on to equal combo, but 80,000 score in favor of mcy4. As we start to approach that final quarter, the difficulty will hit a maximum, and that's just even better for mcy4. Knowing how Forums broke multiple times due to this pure discomfort, it's safe to say that he's going to be able to at least feel secure, but that slider break was a little dodgy now. You're going to have to hope a little bit if he doesn't pop off on this and that you can hold on. The nerves might start to hit him. We saw him hit a little bit after missing on that section. After missing earlier on after hitting that giant combo, but thankfully West Child player isn't able to build anything, and that discomfort is prominent for him, unfortunately. And for mcy4, that is going to be a win for him, finally getting a point on the board, a second point on the board. And maybe there's a chance for him to bring back his momentum. Those ult picks are starting to shut down a little bit here for him to try and abuse. And you still have a couple of raw aim options as well, Aaron, might I add. You still have the DT1 open, you still have the hidden one. Those are potential choices we could see mcy4 falling into later on.
Yeah, I think the way forward for both of these players is pretty clear in this match. mcy4, likely, I would expect the DT1 as a very possible next pick for him. The Nomod 5 is still there. I think that's one where it's kind of a handshake of neither of us is great at this, so perhaps we just don't bother with it. But yeah, mcy4 with those couple of, a little more aimy picks. Worst HR player, I would expect a Nomod 4. One of the best tech players in the game. We've seen what's possible on that map. You got to think the Nomad 4 is an option for him, but then it gets very interesting because nothing after that feels quite so favored his direction. So the next, I think, 2 picks, if they can both win it and come into the last pick each, that will be a very, very interesting scenario, but we got to get there first.
Ron might be taking his time here. No, never mind, he's not. He's decided. Is Nomod 4 going to pick here? Good call. I would have assumed this to be his best option as well. After this, there isn't as much certainty here for West HR play. He has to win this to secure tiebreaker. But I still see a world where mcy4 might be able to do something. But yeah, this is definitely a West HR play favored map. You already mentioned it. This guy is just single-handedly one of the best tech players in the game. Slider aim is no exception to that. But this map is really brutal. We have seen players do ridiculous stuff. The next 2 best potential tech players in the world, in Ristal and Enri, fought this literally like an hour ago. Not even less than that now, like half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, and they duked it out like freaks. Malashevsky just barely choking on a full combo, so we know that it's possible.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, are the giant slider aim key eyes. You see one just past the quarter-way mark, and then, of course, the second one, the crazy major one at 12 to 1400 combo, about 2/3 of the way through. Those are the 2 sections of this map that really determine who is going to win it in an even matchup, because stuff like this is pretty playable compared to what you're going to see in this map later when it really ramps up in difficulty. And this has kind of been how this map has gone, right? Most players are able to combo through the first 500-600, but once you get to the real slider aim diff spikes, that's where things get interesting. But there's an early break from worst HR player. For the first time on his opponent's pick, mcy4 has the advantage early on. We'll see what kind of lead he can build up, though, because this map gets very hard in just a short while here, and it's going to be a real challenge to hold on to any combo.
He's hit the cut here. And he's got a little bit more to hold on to a bit of a combo, but he drops! That's a slider break, I believe! He just missed afterwards hitting the cuts. And that's a dramatic drop there. It's only 10k in his favor. And he's not been able to build here. That tragic miss might spell the end of it here. mcy4 player clearly not uncomfortable. This accuracy is ridiculous, might I add. May not hold on to a full combo, but this act is still really solid. You still have that next ki. Very similar to the earlier ki we saw in the first quarter, but ramps up in BPM and adds a lot more single note finger control applied on top of it. It's just simply that first ridiculous ki, but quite a bit harder. And Forum's going to be able to build as much combo as he can, but that score lead still remains. This next ki is coming up very, very soon. It's only 6,000, 7,000 score dividing them. This could still be anyone's map. First one to drop might spell the end for it. mcy4 has some room. Is it going to happen? Here we go. Next section, accuracy. Still in favor of mcy4 play, but act drops are to be expected here. Slider ends are starting to get really tough, and mcy4 play falls. Can mcy4 hold on? This is the most important part of the map for him. He's got to hold on. He's got to keep it alive here. He doesn't know the Forum's dropped. He just got to stay composed. Look at the slider ends falling, but he still hits it. Beautiful.
mcy4 just clutched the hardest section of this map to give himself a massive combo lead. The score lead goes over. That was one of the most important performances you could have possibly had in this matchup. A quarter of the map still to come, but that lead, 40,000 points here in just a moment. mcy4 with the performance of a lifetime exactly at the moment when he needed it. Is this the break point to even things out here? It looks like it just might be as mcy4 player finds another break.
Yeah, that's been sealed surely now. mcy4, absolutely beautiful. When he needs to clutch up the most, he's there and he is ready. Hits the single hardest part of the map and will end up closing this out with over 1,200 combo over mcy4 player. This is one of the most important breakpoints of this match. These maps that are favored towards mcy4 player are really thinning now. His options are starting to get limited, and mcy4 still has multiple cases where he can take over and use that small mechanics advantage he has over him. This breakpoint is huge, guys. Seriously. He can now lead into a raw aim pick. He can lead into a tapping mechanics pick. He has so much better choices. This breakpoint is huge. That clutch is giant. An S rank. 96 AC is solid. This is a giant score.
That is absolutely so important. As you said, to win a breakpoint is one thing, but to win a breakpoint on a map that really feels like it's favored to the other player is even bigger, because that gives you their next pick on something that they're less comfortable and confident on. If mcy4 can win his own pick here to level it out at 4-4, then we force mcy4 player perhaps into a pick that isn't quite as good for him, and who knows what happens then. So mcy4 probably got to take a second, control the nerves, take a deep breath here in this pick phase, and come up with the optimal selection in the situation. I got to think it's maybe going to Precision Hard Rock or the DT1 if he wants to go into that high BPM, high AR, some tapping, some aim component to it as well. Which of those it's going to be is the big question. I think we're just going to see Nomod 5 ignored, which means Hidden 1 hit Hard Rock 2 and DT1, the remaining options here. It's a tough choice regardless, but...
Yeah, possibly. I see a chance where Nomod 5 can be picked, mcy4 seem to be quite okay on 240 raw stamina, and I know it's 20 BPM higher. I'm aware, but usually if you can stamina 240, the shorter stream sections are possible. So maybe Nomod 5 is there as an option, but Hard Rock 2 is also there. And mcy4 might be very prominent on precision, but Forum is not too big of a joke on that. He can still do something. Definitely still mcy4 favored. He's got a lot of choices here. DT1, as we said before, very possible. Has that tapping aspect, that finger control aspect that mcy4 might be able to benefit from. He's got, oh god.
Well, I'm gonna spoil it here. It is Hard Rock. It is Hard Rock 2.
Okay.
And we did, unfortunately, miss a little bit of it. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but we're in anyway. But hey, both players are holding on to what looks like an FC through the first few hundred combo. And the instant I say that, of course, the instant I say that, mcy4 breaks, because that is how this goes. And this kind of precision is scary. CS 7.8. It is so easy to miss aim any single circle in the entire map.
Yeah. So far, it's backfiring pretty bad here for mcy4, but mcy4 player does drop just past that halfway mark. His score cut in half. And mcy, he has a very small lead. He may have to hope for a second drop here from mcy4 player in order to establish an advantage for him. He's only got about 50 combo in his favor. That's not a lot. He can still get clutched out by this ag difference as well. A good 0.5% in favor of Worst HR player so far. Getting a bit more than that now, 0.8%. And that another drop from MCY. That's a big miss. And the timing is awful. As we get into the final quarter of the map, Worst HR player still has 190 combo. And what seemed to be a quintessential breakpoint for mcy4 has just been closed down. And Forum has managed to get another breakpoint batch. I thought that Forum might have been able to do something. I thought there was a chance that he might be able to pop off on this. Yes, mcy4 is great on the precision. We've seen it multiple times in this tournament, but Forum is no slouch and does get a great clutch. 580k on this map and a beautiful breakpoint to shut down what you and I both thought, Aaron, to be a legendary giant breakpoint that could have flipped the entire tide of the match. But with that breakpoint coming through, it's been shut down and to its tracks entirely. Forum is now at match point. That TB security is confirmed.
Yeah, and it leaves you second guessing the pick just a little bit here. It feels like CS 7.8 was just such a volatile skill set to opt into as mcy4 still down 3-4 there. You know, you got to think, like, would the DT1 with that higher approach rate that Forum was clearly struggling on with the DT3 pick before, would that have played into mcy4's favor a little bit more? Unfortunately, a chance that we'll never know. But yeah, the breakpoint felt so huge for mcy4, and it just goes right back over. And now Worst HR player will try to close this out on his own pick. I am not sure what's going on our screen here, but hopefully we'll get this fixed in just a second. Little client issue.
There we go.
It's the Worst HR player pick, and it's between Nomod 5 Hidden 1 DT1. You would think it's got to be the Hidden 1, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, surely Hidden 1. DT1 it's just slightly in favor of MCY. I think like some of the raw tapping that's in there is just a bit too much for Forum. You know, he's great on finger control, but not speed finger control. That's a distinct thing to remember. Speed finger control with, you know, rapid burst.
Yeah, that I
think it has to be Hidden 1, surely.
I think it's just got to be the Hidden 1 here. I'm not sure as we try to sort out this little technical dilemma, whatever's happening here. But yeah, I feel like that's just out of the 3 maps remaining, it's the only great option. But I'm looking at the back end here. Are we seeing a DT1?
No, really?
There's no way. There's no way we're seeing a DT1 here from Worst HR player. I mean, he's got the aim for it. That's no concern. I'm more worried about the fact that it's AR 10.5 and 275 BPM. That's the concern there.
Yeah, this isn't a raw aim map. This is much more mechanics heavy.
It's DT1.
Wow.
That's what we're getting. So clearly, Worst HR player knows something about himself on this map that we don't. In fact, if we look at the leaderboard, he actually missed this about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, and with 98.5 AC as well. So apparently, the Forum speed arc has just come to fruition at the best possible time.
Okay, so yeah, that's what happens when we don't check the previous matches. But
I mean, that was just in solo. That was just in solo, in fairness.
In solo? Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah. Well, in that case, I'm not wrong to have assumed it. But hey, look, that speed up improvement seems to have caught up to us faster than we thought, Aaron. As his confidence might end up being what gives him that win here. And mcy4 dropping on that linear left-right section does seem to be a bit more promising for Worst HR player. Hits that first key eye past the quarter of the map here. You've still got 3 quarters left to go with multiple sections that can lead to a giant drop from the raw speed alone. But this advantage for Forum is going to be really promising. He's going to be able to build for quite a while until we get into that next build-up where we might expect a miss.
And if you're mcy4, you've got to hope that it's the miss coming from the other side of the screen. And there it is, on those longer streams and bursts. That's what catches out for him, but it also catches mcy4 as well. So nothing gained for mcy4, despite making it through just a little bit farther. Not able to build anything on the back of it. Does have the accuracy lead now, which will potentially be a factor if this combo stays as close as it is. But
yeah,
now,
definitely.
It's
this is still really tight. Yeah, this big combo advantage earlier on into the map is the only thing that we're seeing right now keeping into fruition as we get that 50k still establishing for Wesley Sharp player past that halfway mark, and we're still into that key eye, and mcy4 is trailing by a very, very light margin. By very close, should I say, actually.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. It's 50 combo in favor of Corsace Sharp player. About a 0.5% accuracy lead in favor of mcy4. 47,000 points. Got some more bursts. Got a longer stream here, and it's a break for him. That is the opportunity.
The bus slider trips him up, leads to that giant combo being shut down. mcy4 has to hold. Final course of the map soon coming through. Big jump section about to come through as well. Can he hit this? It's a bit more awkward, but he drops. The slight deviation from the start that was previously hit from him is going to lead to the miss again. But it's still 30,000. We have to see a miss from Western Child player soon. And we have to see a pop-off from mcy4 right now. It has to be now. It has to be now or never.
I don't know if the opportunity is going to be there. We've got one more little tapping section here. Where's his player hit that?
What's it going to be? mcy4, he's going to go down. And that, ladies and gentlemen, might have just sealed it. Foreign made through the trade, but he's still got that 50,000 score in his favor. And even now, even if a small chain miss happens, it's not going to be enough. 50k is really big on this, especially with no giant combos from mcy. He's not going to be able to build. And what we thought initially, Aaron, was a dangerous pick to go into, ends up being what gives Forum that win and top 3 security at Corsace Closed, facing Henry in the winners finals. mcy4 will drop to losers bracket and face, I believe, Malashevsky.
No, it's going to be mcy4 will face the winner of Taquito versus Kriller.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
That will be, yeah. So mcy4 will be waiting for the last match of the day to end before he knows his opponent. Taquito versus Kriller coming at 17:30 UTC, so that one's still a few hours away. Malashevsky, Emrek, of course, confirmed in losers bracket, but this, we're State Char player on to winners finals against Henry, as you said, and that sets up an incredible matchup between two players whose skill sets have some overlap, but also have some big differences. That's an interesting looking Venn diagram between those two, but that's an exciting one, and I don't think it's the winners final that anybody expected. You look at Corsace Closed, you see Malashevsky, you see Emrek. You got to think, you probably expected on the outset one of those two, but Worst HR player has been so strong. Henry has been so strong, and now our winners final is set, and I'm already hyped, and it's a week away.
Yeah, I want to see this match right now, Aaron. I want to see it right now. show me Forum Henry immediately just hopping in the lobby. Like, it's gonna be so good. It's got such perfect skill set balance, you know. I can't wait. That's going to be potentially match of the tournament if we see it. But later on in the losers finals, we're going to be seeing another crazy set of matchups, and we could potentially see Malashevsky and Emrek face up each other later on down the line. But until then,
one of those,
GG's,
no,
it's
guaranteed. That's guaranteed. By the way, Malashevsky Emrek is set. One of those two is going to be eliminated top 6 next week. Yeah.
Oh, I hate that. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, that's crazy. Dude, ladies and gentlemen, this is Corsace Closed. That's the nature of this incredible tournament. And with that, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, go check out mcy4 for some great tapping keypads. And go check out our Corsace manga for an epic read, a little bit of extra lore on Corsace. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Sad Shiva, joined by the incredible Aaron. Tune in a few hours' time for Taquito against, who'd you say? Who was it? Kriller? Kriller Taquito? I don't remember. Which one was it?
Kriller Taquito.
There you go. I was right.
17:30 UTC. Kriller Taquito.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.